And this is one out of many skill builders we're going to do. So this is the one with a subject of slowing down, putting more weight on it, and digging deeper with the customer, making them feel understood. We don't need to start at Adam and Eve, how to present the window, how to present the light and whatnot, right? By the way, I have a killer method of showing the light, but I can share that with you at a different time. But and you don't hear that on Rillery, you see it better when I do it in person. But so that's today's subject, and I'm going to email you guys real quick the handout. You can print it out later on, and also a checklist, what you should put in your folder, have it with you, and every time you step out of a customer's house, just run the play real quick. What did I do good? And if you don't do that already, I always do that. I always question myself, what did I do good? Why didn't this land? Oh man, I think that was the spot where I lost them. So I have chosen this skill builder subject, so going deeper, creating clarity, because that is the easiest way to increase the close rate. All this objection handling and all that, we try anyways to avoid objections, right, and bring them up in the front. But what we always say is to the customer with the window, you can have the best window. If it's installed wrong, you still have a bad outcome. And that is basically the same with the skill builder today. So you can have the best closer or the best, most nicest guy. If the message or if the appointment is not landing, it's still a bad outcome. So if we can tighten it up a little bit and like find a way to hone our skills, then the outcome is maybe a few % better in the close rate. The objective, increasing obviously the close rate by slowing conversations down and uncovering emotional depth and making house owners feel fully understood. So that's basically our objective. Why is this important? What do you think?
Like, shows you're in control a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting in the authority into the appointment. You're showing that you're taking control.
Yeah.
Letting them be heard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most active listening. Make sure you're listening more than
that as well. Yeah. Is everything coming together like that? One very important thing is also the outcome out of all this, or the lack of this skill, makes really the difference if the customer not just buys or not buys, but also if they feel that they're going with somebody who's confident enough. Because psychologically, if somebody rushes through answers or rushes through something when they explain something, like example, you have a window here and you tell all the features like that down. And we would think that shows the authority that they know what I'm talking about because I know all this by heart. The contrary actually is the case. First of all, it goes in here, goes out there. They don't have enough time to process it. And then it also makes them feel like he's just rushing through it because he wants me to buy something, right? And they see it's again, subconsciously, that they feel like you're just trying to sell them something. That's really like, come on, and this is good, want to go? So that is obviously something what we don't want. We don't want to come across as a salesperson, because nobody wants to buy from a sales. Sales has a stigma, it's so bad. I love sales, but it's like the white hats and the black hats, right? So the white hats are the ethical, good guys who are taking their time. The black hats, they're just trying to screw you over like a car salesman. That's typical, not offense, but this is a typical stigma, So that's basically what we have to conquer. That's where we have to hone our skills. So first thing is basically, and again, all three kind of like live with each other. You cannot just take one out of these three parts apart. So slowing down is the very first thing what builds confidence, not just inside of you, but also the customer feels you are more comfortable and more confidence. You have more confidence. So I listened to some of the rillers, and some, not you, but some of those rillers, I see the DC, the sales rep, is just answering way too fast, and sometimes also explaining things way too fast. And especially, it doesn't matter if the customer is slow pace or fast pace, you have to slow things down. That gives you to put also more weight in the process and more weight in the message. So how did all that, what I just said, came across this way compared to, all right, you guys got to slow down because it's just way more confidence, expressing more confidence if you're slowing down. But when I talk fast with you guys, it's just I want to show off how good I am because I know everything by heart. But you see how this lands different?
Especially for, I'll say, somebody like me, when you talk fast, it just goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was like something to me, I'm like, man, I'm just not really paying attention. But when people like talk the way that you talked originally, everything gets soaked in. I understand, I can visualize in my head what you're saying and everything like that. It hits home more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have you guys noticed that also, that I left pauses, looked around to see where the right word is, and then I brought it across with a little bit more weight? Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I mean, I noticed when you get homeowners that have lots of questions, I used to think that was awesome. I'm like, oh, sweet, they're engaged. But answering every single question, like to your point, doesn't always come across the best. Even though you're quote unquote doing your job, it's listening, it's pausing, it's understanding what to answer and how to answer it, rather than just blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Because they don't remember anything in these appointments.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Usually not even your name.
Yeah, you get to the end and you're like, wait, we just talked about that
right.
5 minutes ago. Mm-hmm.
So this is basically the end of today is basically like say less with more impact.
Yeah.
And that sticks with the customer, right?
Light switch moment. So
today here in this skill builder, we can actually start to talk like this with each other as a practice, basically. So when you guys tell me something, when I'm asked a question or when you want to say something, try to put more weight in it. And I really had a hard time in the past because I didn't know that it was important at all. And then when I listened to more like how you communicate with people, how politicians communicate with people, body language, facial expression, all that, I was like, dude, that's over the top. I felt like a clown because I felt I'm acting. But over time, I tried it out a few times with customers, but then I learned really it lands, right? So for instance, how I just spoke, it lands. Right? So there was a pause, and then I brought it across like that. That lands better as if I would say, blah, 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 you know? Okay, so back to that. That is a skill you gotta acquire or hone, get better with. Practice, obviously, and don't be afraid that that was my handicap at the beginning. I thought it comes across, I'm acting. Yeah, I am fucking acting. Because that's not really me, right? I feel like a psychologist in that moment, or like, you know.
They're like, well, how would you do it? I walk in and be like, dude, it's fucking vital. Do you really want
yeah,
to
right? So that's really important because in the end, yes, we are actors. We put on a show. We help customers to feel confident that we give them the results they're looking for. And that is where everybody, gets from a regular close rate, 20% you're closing anyways because it's renewed by Anderson. Sometimes it's a laydown. They say, oh yeah, we know you guys, my neighbor had it, I want you guys, how much is it? Happens too sometimes, right? Or you build such a value and they saw so many commercials that they are sold already, and when you show the regular price before discounts, they look at each other, yeah, hon, that's actually doable, $64,000, let's do it. As you wait, we have a couple of more discounts. You know, so, but that shows you, and that it happens. Happened that to some of you guys? Yeah, did?
Once.
Yeah, but it does.
Twice. Yeah.
That is all the background work what is done already by branding, and you probably also built a really good value so that they felt, yeah, it's worth it. So that happens, and more often that happens when you change a little bit up on your presentation, the way it's being brought across. And again, you can have the best window if it's installed wrong. It's the same like you can be the best and handsomest and nicest guy, but if your message comes across not good enough, they don't buy.
Right.
They just don't feel they have, and that's possibly what happened to me yesterday. You know, it was maybe not this connection. And also, usually I say something like, hey, look, I'm German, I'm not the funniest guy in the world. I'm usually straightforward. People, you know, like, I'm not a people person. So when I say things like that as an excuse, they usually open up and they say, oh, that's fine, just be yourself, you know, and now I have them on board. So I didn't do that yesterday. Maybe that was the part what was missing. I don't know. You know, but there was a connection missing. So, I mean, really, and I broke it down. They said, in the end, even like, hey, yeah, maybe how would it look if you put money down? I said, I got this, right? I really felt I have them. And then they wanted to put half down, so the monthly payment was $87. Yeah, they're on fixed income, but they were not poor. $87, if you still have to think about it to the end of the month,
Yeah.
that was totally on me. Completely, I missed something. Maybe it was a connection, I don't know. Because literally, you can ask my whole family. I mean, they know me, but I'm an asshole sometimes. I mean, and without even wanting to be. I have a very dry humor. When I say something that could be hurtful, right? I got to work on that. But being in sales, I had to learn to be different, to be more successful. And now I'm acting a lot more, right? And again, especially here now, being with Renew by Anderson, I had way more time now to use time to work on myself, to try to get better. And there's a huge difference from when I started, even though I'm in sales for 20 years. But when I started here, it's if you look at me, if there was a recording from back then to now, it's day and night. That doesn't mean I close with double the rate now. I was like at 28 or something like that. I'm not at 6 now, right? So, but every little bit, what you make different, and you could sound like 100% different, but that little bit, you know, gets you maybe 1 or 2 or 3% more. My goal is always to not be stagnant with the close rate. I want to have a better close rate than the year before. I don't. By the way, side note, I don't even look at how much money I make. My goal is really just get a better close rate every month, every year, right? And then work on every month as a nucleus. And my really goal is like to go to TPC again. I missed it last year by this much, so I want to go again, right? Tulum is awesome. I want to go there. The Conrad hotels are awesome. I want to go there. So that's my goal. That's what I'm working for. So I'm not looking at the money, because the money, if you go to TPC, you made the money. You know what I mean? So that's why. So everybody has hopefully their own goals, right? What you're working on, and break it down for each month. But yeah, that's how I see it. So try to get better every time. Work on yourself. You have enough time to do that in this company and still make a ton of money. I mean, running 10 appointments, 8 to 10 appointments or something a week, that's not much. That feels like part-time. Yeah, it's 8 hours when if you put the driving time, it's an 8 hour, 9 hour, 10 hour days sometimes, but literally.
I remember the last time I had 8 or 10 appointments in a week. It's been a while.
Oh yeah.
It's been a couple months.
Use the slow time right now. Use the slow time right now to work on yourself, you know. That's super important. So between Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, and then beginning of January still. So that's literally like 2.5, maybe 3 months where you can step back a little bit. Yeah, you do the appointments they give you, but then you have enough time to really listen to like the sales guys, gurus, right, in the internet. Make a skill your own, what you want to work on for the next 6 months or something like that. You know, you have the ability here. So much free time is amazing, you know. Okay, so slowing things down. yeah, slowing things down when you deliver messages puts way more weight in there. Also emphasizing certain words or stretching them a little bit makes a huge difference, right? Exactly the way I just did. So when I explain something about material and something, forget the facial expression or anything like, or body language. That will emphasize. That makes it even more believable when you say something than just the words itself. But the words already have a huge impact. So let's say you talk about vinyl. Let me do the whole thing, including facial expression, body language, and the words.
Are you going to give us the dry version or the good version first?
The good version first. Okay. All right. So I talk about material, and I get the sample out. Remember when we talked earlier when we looked at your windows? They're vinyl windows, right? Now here's a cutout, a little piece out of these vinyl windows. Remember what I said? They're so flimsy now because of the lead is not in there anymore. Here, just look at this. See how this is flimsy? Just take a look. And then they have it. Look, it is so flimsy because they don't have those ingredients anymore. What they had back then, right? Now, do you really want to get back to that? I mean, I'm here because those old vinyl windows are failing now. They're even better than that. You really want to go with that again? All right, so you saw my facial expression, very like disgusted almost, right? And then I nodded or, did the head also. Do you really want to, right? So all that plays a role, right? So the body language, the facial expression and so forth. But did you also hear how I kind of like stretched words or slowed down when I showed this? Did you see that? Okay.
The look at this part was pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Just look at this.
Yeah. Just feel it and see how flimsy that is. Do you really want to go back to that? You're like, So besides the body language and the facial expression, because the words is basically the train to deliver the message. The facial expression and body language is basically now you're putting the decoration around the train and everybody's look at that, right? So that is emphasizing your message and making it more believable. Because that's why I also love to meet with people in person, because you cannot explain that in a Zoom meeting even, right? That's already constricting.
I like it because not only is it more believable, but it's more engaging. It helps prevent that homeowner from losing that connection as you're just pitching,
Yeah.
So I'd be like, hey, we got this. Oh, okay, that's cool.
And as more nonchalant you are about it,
kind of that if you're just,
yeah.
whatnot.
And when you are nonchalant about it, this nonchalant thing, right? Okay, so here's another example of what I just did. I don't know if you got that. You were not even done talking,
I know.
right?
Interrupting. You want wait. You want to just sit there and say.
I didn't wait, right? Because we salespeople, we know the answer. We want to say something, right? Did you get that, what I just did? I interrupted him because I already wanted to say something.
And I've seen so many, like at Victor's, we did a lot of like me and Chris were going to ride along, like you do ride alongs with reps, and if you got the sale, you split that commission with the rep you were with. So I've been out there seeing with other reps who won't shut up, who cut homeowners off, and there's been times where homeowners who's gone.
Yep, they shut down eventually.
They get mad, and then they completely shut off to them and just look at me. And then I'll take the whole thing, and then I kind of have to play the good cop, bad cop. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
There's
Go
some
ahead.
bands I might have to be like, they're a little new, like, they're training or something to kind of get.
I hate ride-alongs with that. It's always, and one thing, I don't know if you got that at all a couple of months ago when Kabolsky was here. Him and I, we met the first time at my ride-along. He rode along with me, and I thought he's a new rep. And walking up to the house, I told him, listen, this is my appointment. I call the shots. You shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear a word. You have to be the fly on the wall. If I hear a peep, you can go, right? And he, okay, zzzt. He didn't even say nothing.
And You didn't know
You
you
didn't
would
say
say
that.
And then,
I'm just Mike.
and then a week later, I sit here with everybody else for the sales manager meeting, for a sales meeting, right? The manager, and he didn't sit down. He walked up here, and I'm like, oh God, I was just saying this shit. So him and I became friends ever since. He said that was so cool. But anyways,
And he's like, that's what I want more reps to do. He's like, take control.
yeah. So back to earlier when I interrupted you on purpose. So that is, if that is you, if you feel that happens to you sometimes, work on that. It's not a good trade, because also in a relationship you can put that to anything.
Yeah.
Let the person finish, or if you have to interrupt for whatever reason, you can do it non-verbally too. By stopping to engaging, for instance, because if somebody's talking and you can't hear it anymore, but you keep on nodding and that is encouraging to continue to talk. Right?
Or
But
if they're maybe like reiterating something that I said and they're wrong, I might go, and they just see me do that, like they know that I want to say something. They're like, I just wanted to clarify real quick before you continue. Just this part is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
a good way to interrupt is to jump on what they just said. Right? So that's not negative. That makes them feel like you're listening, but you have a deeper question. So let's say he was talking and you know, about what subject?
I know what we're
Yeah, something. All right, let's say with the ride along and some. And I would say, hey, wait a minute. When you just said with the ride along, you got interrupted. Can you clarify that a little bit so I get a better understanding?
Yeah.
So that is,
A good-
I interrupted him, but also I took him now to go deeper. How would that feel if I'm not interrupting to say something, but if I'm interrupting to, wait a minute, I need to know more?
Yeah.
Just imagine how that would feel if you're saying something, but now the person is not interrupting to change a subject, or what a lot of people also want to do, they want to tell their experience, right? It's always like that. If somebody says, oh man, my car didn't start, I had to get a jumper cable, then you remember a situation you were in, oh, that happened to me too, right? And you interrupt that person, now you tell your story. How does that person feel now who just got interrupted? They didn't finish their story. There was a whole other thing coming, but they couldn't deliver it.
But you could stay.
Well, hold a second. How would that person feel? Just think about that for a minute. No, I really mean, think about it. Because the customer in that moment.
They don't feel cared for.
Exactly.
Kind of like you're one-upping
That's just what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is what that's why salespeople have this bad stigma, because we always want to explain more, because a lot of salespeople think as more features you're talking about, as more things, yeah, and more positive things about why the product is so good, why they should buy from us and whatnot. And whatever they say, you always, tell more and more and more. Now they feel unheard. And eventually they sit back and listen and shut down. Now you completely lost them, right? So we talk about extremes here, but maybe one or two things you maybe will recognize yourself in the next couple of days. Oh, wait a minute, right? So let's start unwrapping this, because there's a lot of little things we have to watch out for. So one thing is, if we have to interrupt when the customer's on a rant and just blah, 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 make it nice as a pattern interrupt by interrupting them to ask a deeper going question. And that is also important when we look at, discovery. Let's say, example, you ask a question, so how does a window, why am I here? What's going on with the window? And then the customer says, oh yeah, so the other day I wanted to open that and it was really hard, and then this happened and that happened, and then the dog wanted out, and then the dog ran away, and they had to chase it, put my house shoes on, it was snow, got all the house shoes were full of water, right? You could just wait there and, that's going to be a long story, right? Or you could say, oh, wait, when you just said you opened the door, was it like, how was it, like easy with all the snow and the cold? Or was it a little bit harder? If you go back in your mind when you opened that patio door, how did it feel? So now I took them back to what's important for you, because you need to find out. I mean, it's not really that you need to find out. What's really important at that moment
just kind of steering the ship, getting them back on track.
Yeah, that's
Talk
one
about
thing.
the windows.
But why is that important? How they felt? Because we replace the windows anyways. But when we ask a second layer question, when we go lower than surface level, then the customer has to explain themselves. Whenever you explain yourself, you put yourself physically, or in your mind, you put yourself back in that situation, you relive it because you want, how was that? Your mind goes there. How was that again? Oh yeah, it was hard. Yeah, it was hard to open the door. So now I relive that situation. I feel the pain of how hard it was to open and close. And maybe my brain puts then also, oh yeah, the snow came in and, and all that. Or it was a lot of cold air coming over, right? But when you ask the secondary question, by interrupting them, that they don't ran off with their thoughts about the dog and the shoes and whatnot. So when you do this pattern interrupt, you think in that moment you get more information, but what is this information really good for? Not really for you, because you replace the windows anyways. It's good for you to get them back in that situation that they feel the pain again. They have to relive the pain. You have really the ability with questions that they take that knife again and push it in their stomach again, and now you make them turn it around and feel the pain again. Why is that important?
Because you want them to understand the issue that they have and how serious it is, and to get them pretty much putting urgency on the project.
Well, that's what you're there to solve too, right?
Right.
So you're
Like, remember why I'm here is because you're having issues feeling comfortable in your own home right now. Remember that.
Because without pain, no gain, right? But also if they don't feel the pain, they don't feel the need, urgency, or desire to change it, right? Because let's say something bad happens, I don't know, what could, I don't always want to take a window as an example, but all right, let's go there. Let's say you in your own house, you open the window, and now the window doesn't close all the way because it's too old, and the cold air comes in. But you have to go to work. You cannot fix it right away. You put a quick towel there and leave, right? And it is urgent for you though that you basically probably on the phone with the company, hey, can you come out today? Fix that, right? Because you feel the pain in that moment. Now let's say for whatever reason you got sidetracked, you didn't call, the window stays like that, but the next day the sun shines, it's 70 degrees outside. And now you're like, oh yeah, the towel, yeah, that's fine. So the urgency basically dropped now. The pain dropped. Now guess what, a week later, you don't even think about it anymore. A big storm comes now, a snowstorm, cold air, snow comes into the window now. Guess you see it because you feel it, the room is cold, and you, oh man. From 0 to 100, your pain goes right away. Am I right? Mm-hmm. And that's where we have to get the customer, because if you don't feel, when the weather was nice again, 70 degrees outside, you're like, yeah, I can call them tomorrow, right, to fix it. But the urgency and the call and the action was more pressing when it hurt more. And most people go to an emergency room or to a doctor when they have pain, when something broke. But if it's just a routine checkup, you're like, I can cancel, I go next month, right? So that's part of our job. And how do we get them to relive that situation is by asking deeper questions. So the worst thing, basically, what I can hear as a sales rep when they open the door, and I said, so what's going on with your windows? And they give me an answer like, they're not so bad. That's, yeah, they're old. What do you want to do now? If you continue this fucking, surface level, the pain will not be enough that nobody ever tells you at the end of the presentation, yeah, the windows are, yeah, let's do it, honey. Yeah, should we do it? Yeah, it's not that bad. We don't really feel the pain, but yeah, $30,000, let's do 10 windows. that doesn't match, right? Does it feel right now? It never happens like that. So that's why, also with objections and all that, has all come at the beginning. So let them feel the pain again. That is our job. And so that's why these questions, when you ask a question, you want to discover, right? You want to see we don't discover for us. Do you really think it's important for us to see how bad that window is? The outcome for us is always the same. We're going to replace that sucker, right? We take it out, give them a new window. There's no alternative. And no matter how bad their window is, it could be falling apart, they pay the same price. Does it make a difference for us how bad the window is? No. For who really makes it the difference? For them. And if the window is not that bad, it's just old, that's where our work starts. That's where the boys are being separated from the studs. That's where our work starts. We really have to dig in deeper. If they already come like that, like, oh yeah, come on here, I gotta show you that this is going on for months. And then the woman, I know, this is horrible. You know, this is a good appointment, right? Yeah, they're like, yeah, give me more.
Put your emotions into it too, like, oh
right.
my God, you guys have been living like this?
Like, part of it, I've noticed, is because we are salesmen, it doesn't do you any good when you have the answers and you're giving them the answers. They have to say it and go through it themselves to like reinforce that they need new windows. Like, you're there for a reason, but if they don't articulate it and they don't go through that process with you, it does look like you're selling. And I've noticed that. I've been in many appointments where I'm like, I needed to let them say, they needed to come to that conclusion. I didn't need to bring them to it.
Yeah. Do you know what your job is?
To listen?
It's part of it. Sometimes I get the answer, yeah, I'm a sales or design consultant for Windows. No, your job is really in sales to help them getting over themselves, to help them preventing moving forward. Because what a lot of people do is putting it off another year, If there was a hole in the ceiling, in the roof, and you see the water stains already, it's literally dropping. They probably don't sit there like with a bucket there. I call you next month. You know what I mean? Right? Because it's more urgent. Now with the windows, we have to show them why this is urgent too. If they don't feel it, we have to make them feel it. Because no pain, no gain. So that is our job. So all this discovery is not for us. All this discovery is really for them to feel the pain, to relive the pain. So let's say, because I don't want to talk about the easy guys where they're like, oh my God, I hate the windows, they're so bad. I want to talk about the problem child where they are sitting there like that and you ask, so how are the windows? They're not bad, they're just old. Now you can act or answer the way you want. I'm a gut guy. I act the way I see feasible at that moment. But there are so many ways to do it. On a playful way, when I hear, let's say I'm opening my computer, putting all this up, and I say, so how do you feel about the windows right now? So what's going on? Why am I here, right? And they say something like that, yeah, it's not that bad really. It's just, they're old. We just think about upgrading. All right, see you later. You know what I mean? So what do I do with you guys now? I exaggerate my response, what I could do with the customer, just to show you how stupid that answer is, what they just gave me, right? So we really have to dig in deeper there, because if you get that and you want to have it more playful, if you get that answer and you want to have it more playful, you could actually say something in a direction what I just did, and you could say, hey, you know what, doesn't sound too bad, call me back when they're falling out of the wall. Deal? Ha ha ha. I'm not very, very funny, I know, but if I tell that to the customer, if I say, ha ha ha, and I'm not so funny, I know I'm German, I'm just trying, then now I break the ice a little bit. Because I also, when they lean back like that, I don't like that. I want them a little bit more engaged with me. So find also, that's really a side track right now, just a side note. If you ever feel that they're not engaged, that they are like leaned back, you don't really can warm them up, make them warm up with you, but not telling them to warm up. Just say something funny, which is not really funny, and then say, yeah, I know, I'm horrible in this, I'm not a stand-up comedian, I should keep my job, right? Something like that. Try to warm them up, right? Have you ever had that situation?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, those are the toughest appointments.
So here's a question. Why are they like that?
Well, they're defensive, probably.
It's usually the first tell that lets me know that somebody's already been out.
Or
Not necessarily, but generally, they might had contact with sales guys in the past.
Yeah.
And what is the usual perception of a sales guy? They are there to sell you something,
Yeah.
right? That's why a lot of people lean back like that. All right, here we go. Go ahead. You know what I mean? So when you have this lean back and arms crossed over like that in front of you, the way really what's going on in the head is you maybe triggered already something, or they have a post-traumatic stress syndrome from sales guys, and they got maybe taken care of, they did something what they regretted later on, you know, not taken care of, how do you say, taken advantage of, or something what they didn't like. And it is unfortunately a big perception there that sales guys are slazy and they just want to take advantage. They want to sell you something, and the first price, you never jump on the first price, you know, all these predetermined.
People try to shake me down.
Yeah, shake you down. So, and
How slow can you get? I can't. What do you mean?
and that is really what we have to deal with. So we have to change that perception. Now, how do we do that?
That's the tough part. Sometimes just figuring out on the fly how to do that. Like when you get somebody that's giving you resistance right away, you really have 5 to 10 seconds to kind of turn it. Because if you make it awkward, you've lost them. But if you
What is awkward? What do you mean by that?
So I'm kind of thinking of specific ones for me.
Probably a long silence.
But yeah, when you're trying to get somebody to engage and then they won't, it's probably, I would say more awkward for you, I guess, because you're just trying to figure out where to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you walk into a house and you're like, they won't sit down with you at the table. You know, they're giving you all these like, oh no. Like, but then you sit down and you talk to them, and then like they'll stay at the table or they'll go sit on the couch for the inspection. Like, hey, like, can you show me where this first window is? You know, that you're having issues with. Oh yeah, it's over there in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Just unlock the door. Just go look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm kind of like, shoot, like where? What do I do with this? Like, how do I get them to, without it being over the top?
Mm-hmm.
But I realize like sometimes you just have to be direct.
You have to lead.
You have to lead and be direct.
Right. For instance, you know, when I put the window on the table, right, and they sit there, or kitchen counter, and they sit there at the table, I always tell them what to do. I said, look, I put the window here, come on here, come on behind me, go around, you know, so I can show you that better. Oh, yeah. They always get up and do it. But I earned that, how do you say, authority. Over the course of the appointment. Yeah. So back to the beginning of that, because at the beginning when we come in, we are an intruder. They don't know that. They don't know us. Right. And they perceive most of us as lazy, whatever, sales guys, and they don't want to be taken advantage of. So it's all defense mechanism. They don't want to engage much. You know, just give me the price kind of thing. They don't want to go through the whole spiel maybe, right? So the way we overcome that, or the way, let's track back for a second to the situation when you see that they go back like this and, you know, they don't engage much and whatnot. All that, how they perceive you, besides what they learn from other sales guys, how they act, starts already with a hello when they open the door. So that is, let's say, the little golden nugget on top of what we do today. So one really big thing, what you have to check on yourself, how you talk, how you act when they open the door. Have you heard that ever? You cannot, how do you say, like with a second impression or something? There's just one first impression.
First impression is a lasting impression. Kind of.
Yeah, no, there's never a chance for a second impression or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. How, let's say, just not a role play, but just give me real quick when, let's say you knock on the door, they open the door.
Hello.
No, serious. Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
so
they're like, hi. I'm like, I'm Joe. They're like, I'm so and so. Come on in. Like, nice to meet you. You know, good if I kick my shoes off right here. Oh, you can keep them on if you want. You know, it's no big deal. Are you sure? Rule in my house. You know, I don't like wearing shoes in my home, so I'll kick my shoes off. No big deal. They're like, oh yeah. And normally, most times they'll say, yeah, come on over here. We'll go sit down over here. Or if it's a door, they'll be like, well, here's the door. And I'm like, all right. I was like, hey, you know, do you have a place where you can go sit real quick and I can, you know, jot down some notes just, you know, so I can get a better understanding of what it is that you're looking for? They're like, yeah, not a problem. Well, yeah, hello.
Okay. Just like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
I want to hear you now. When let's say I'm the customer, I open the door. Hello.
Hey, how's it going today? My name's Gray. What's your name?
Mick.
Or I'll say, yeah, Mrs. Robinson. Nice to meet you today. Just gonna leave my shoes right here. Maybe there's a place we can sit down, and I'll tell you how we're gonna get started today.
All right. How about you?
Yeah, so like usually I walk up, they open the door, and I'm like, hey, how are you? I'm Chris with Renewal by Anderson. I was like, you must be Mick, right?
Yep, I'm Mick.
Hey, okay, great.
Come on in.
Oh, okay. Good spot for my shoes right here?
Yep.
Okay, great. Hey, Mick, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate, having us out today. Real quick, is there a spot we can sit down for a second just so we can get on the same page?
Sure.
I usually kind of find that it helps us make the appointment go a little faster if we're kind of in sync. If I can get to that, if I can get that out quick,
That's good, yeah.
like, I feel like I can at least start to form the appointment. When you meet people at the front door, like sometimes they, like, you got that person that's guarded the front door, where they're kind of just like waiting. They're like, hey, yeah, so we got a couple windows for you to look at. Okay, cool. Mind if I come in for a second here? Like, you just got to kind of feel it out. Like, people are very defensive, and like that's the that first, like I said, 5 to 10 seconds can kind of like sway it if you don't say the right thing.
Right. That's always the first impression. Everybody, as you notice, everybody has a little bit different. In the end, we want to sit at the table, right? Everybody wants to go there, and we ask if shoes and whatnot. But what is super important on this first impression, you can sound like everybody else, like a sales guy who wants something from them. Or you can sound different. It's a pattern interrupt, because a pattern is like sales guy wants to sell me some. But a pattern interrupt is, wait, that's different.
That's not what I was expecting.
Right? Subconsciously, they put the guard on a little bit, like, hey, wait, oh, he's not the sales, wait,
Just a
right? Normal person. So here's the thing. Never change a winning team. If what you guys say and it works, close rate is up, great. If you feel you could improve on that, what I did the same thing at the beginning. A lot of times I said, thanks for having us over, thanks for having time for me today. That lowers you in their standard, subconsciously lowers you in their mind.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the end of the world, but I noticed when I make it more, not really like an a-hole, but if I make it more sound like that I'm here to help them, they called me over. They want something from me, and not just, oh, thanks that I get a chance to sell you our windows today, right?
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that. I did the same thing. I felt that the appointment was perceived by the customer a little bit lesser salesy. Just try it out, either way, you know what I mean? So don't excuse, or also, by the way, when after I sell, I might say sometimes, thanks for your business, but a lot of times I want them to feel like I don't want to sound arrogant, but I also don't want to sound like that we run after them for the business or something. That, you know what I mean? So then I say something like, hey, look, and I know already you're going to love the windows. We are extremely backlogged right now, but here a referral card. If you have neighbors or whatnot, we can do them a favor too. Right? So they see me then more like, oh my God, I'm so, as a customer, thank God I got them in my house. You know what I mean? Pattern interrupt, because you don't want to sound like everybody else. Because everybody's like, thank you so much for taking this appointment with us today, and that I get a chance, you know, you don't want to be like,
Yeah.
right?
Let me kiss your butt the whole
Yeah.
time. and
I
then
will
sound
say,
you're
like,
sucking out 'cause
the
you're gonna just
normal
sit there and
intro-
try. No,
My normal intro like follows a similar pattern, but it really is totally dependent how that person
Yeah.
greets me.
Yeah, of course.
You can tell if somebody's excited to greet you, like I kind of tone it down a little because I don't need, like, they were expecting me, they're happy to have me out, like, but you get those people that like they come in, look like they just woke up,
Oh God, yeah.
you know, like, and you kind of, and you're like, you know, you caught them by surprise. It's like, hey, I'm Chris with Renewal by Anderson. I'm here for your 2:00 window appointment today. Oh yeah, come on. Like, it's weird. It's the things you don't see on Rilla.
Right.
Like, because I'm very perceptive to body language,
Right.
facial expressions. Like, you can see how you're received.
Yeah.
Like, so there's people that the moment you open the door, they're excited to have you out because they know they got a problem.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you play by ear,
Yeah.
right? Whatever is put in front of you, you can act to that accordingly. That's
Yeah.
super important. So, second thing is high-pitched voice versus low voice.
Low pitch.
Low-pitched voice is always better. High-pitched voice, I felt that a few times, and I recognized that over a time period, that every time throughout the appointment, I got a little bit out of breath with running in and out and showing this and this because I was too fast, right? So that my voice sounded more compressed and more high pitch. And when I actively slowed myself down, then the voice can also be deeper. We are all animals somewhere. So the thing is, if you have a little chihuahua, right? Not everybody knows it's a chihuahua, right? But if you have a big dog with a big bark, you're like, damn, I don't want to get,
Listening,
right? So that's,
sit down.
yep. So that's another way of perception, right? So you don't want to be the sales guy. Yes, we do a fantastic job. Yes, we have the best window out there, but in the end, the only thing what we can do is we can be our best so that more customers actually get helped with our window. Go ahead.
Yeah, just that, going off of that high pitch, quick talking, when you talk like that, you literally sound like the infomercial guys, like Billy Mays, you know, and stuff like that.
Hey, wait, we have more.
Yeah, but wait, there's more, you know, like you get into that, and we as the homeowner, then we're like, oh God, okay, we're being
See, I
pitched
find
right
my-
now. Like complete sales, like here it is, they're just going off and talking about whatever, and now there's not that much of a connection. It's more me just like, I'm here just listening, you're just pitching something, and then at the end you're gonna be like, so you know, does that payment work for you? Just grab your driver's license, we get this thing going, you know, and then they're like, well, hold on, you know. it's
And
just
then
very-
people feel sold and they cancel maybe if they sign up because they don't want find a way out, or they don't move forward and they find all kinds of excuses, you know.
Right.
So
The information is great. I just need a lot to take in.
yeah, and the worst thing, what people maybe think it's a compliment, the worst thing is when people tell me, no, it was all good. They don't move forward, but they praise you. Oh, you're a great sales guy. Oh shit, where did I screw up today? You know what I mean? Because when they perceive you like that and didn't move forward, obviously, then yeah, I was way too salesy.
I played into that before one time. They're like, "Oh, hey, bro," and I was just like, They're like, what's wrong? And I'm like,
people have
that's
said
like
that.
the straight tell that, like, you know, I did a bad job myself and whatnot, and I didn't explain things enough to you. Well, they're
But you
like,
might not have though. Like
I didn't, but doing that, they felt like the genuinity of what I did, and then they just opened up. They're like, well, it's just a lot of money, and, you know, we're just gotta, and then I really got down to, like, what it is, what their thing was. But because I did that, not only did they tell me what the real objection was, they ended up sitting there without even me asking them to and figuring it out, and they asked me to step away so they could have a couple minutes to discuss how they wanted to pay for it, because they weren't sure if they wanted to pull from a savings account, like a high yield savings account or whatever, or if they wanted to just finance it, and they just needed a little bit of time to conversate about that.
The customers are lying to them. If it's a real conversation about, hey, you know what, yeah, I wanted to do this, but give me 5 minutes, we need to move some money around. Totally legit, can happen. But majority of the time, anything what they say, anything is literally a lie to themselves. Mm-hmm. It's an excuse not to move forward, and they want to let you down easy. It's not you, it's us, right? Something like that. It's never that the customer realizes that they don't feel confident enough that the results will be in a way that it's worth the money, right? Because they will end up buying eventually. If there's another company coming over and that sales rep is maybe doing a better job, but the window is worse, they will go with him. We have the best window. All the logic in the world would make everybody buy our windows. Because also, the price is higher, but in the long run it's lesser because you never have to do it again, right? Other people have to replace their windows in 10 years again or so, 15. What sense does that make? Because prices in 15 years are even higher, right? So then they have to do it again with a higher price, the second time around. So logic always tells me it is the best window in the world. Everybody should move forward and buy from us. But do people buy by logic?
No.
The decision is made. No. Nobody buys by logic. The decision to buy is always made subconsciously by emotions. Quick example, I always bring that. Financially, to marry my wife was logically not good. Okay? I was 6,000 miles overseas. We dated like that. It's like all the money I spent on flight tickets, phone calls, and all that was like $2,000-3,000 a month to see her for a week. And then I was back working to make that money up. You know what I mean? Was it a logical decision? 100% not. Was it financially sound? Bullshit, right?
You have kids too? Did you have that bill in there?
Why did I make that decision? Just think about it. What was involved? Like always, 100% of emotions. You can move mountains. You would do anything if the emotions are high enough, right? If somebody would put a gun to your child's head and would say, give me $1 million tonight, or something will happen. You don't want to lose your child. You don't want your child to go through all this. So what do? You will make $1 million to the end of the month, end of the day. I would even rob a bank for the moment, and I'll go to jail. I don't care, just to help my kid out. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it's just to bring the point across. So if the emotions are high enough, then the customer makes the decisions to buy or not to buy. Nobody buys the windows because of the logic of the money. The money is really, in the end, just, how do you say, like to lock it down, just to justify the decision which was made emotionally. Then you lock down the money part. Then the logic takes over, just to support that emotional decision. That's with anything. If you go to Starbucks because you want a sandwich, you're not thinking, I have to take my calories in right now. I have to go, that would be the logic part. No, you go there, I feel hungry. I could eat a sandwich. So that's basically where the customer makes the decision. Now, emotionally, when we sit with the customer, that is our job, to let the guard, to make them help to let the guard down, that they let us help them. So starts with the first hello. Don't sound salesy. low pitch, slow down. If you can work on these two things, just check yourself every time you go to next customer. When they open the door, you can be friendly, of course. My shoes right here? Okay, cool. All right, here's my card. Where do we start? What's going on with your windows? How can I help you today? How can I help you today? Oh, this and this and this. I'd rather be perceived as a contractor than a salesperson. And I love sales. I love sales for nothing else. It's a great job, but I don't want them to see me as a stigma of a salesperson. I'm just there to help them. That's my job. So slow down, emphasize certain, and it's nothing what you can change or learn, or it's a skill you develop over time more and more, and then you build on that. And next time you do this better, next time you do that better. But the first and easiest thing is stop interrupting them, unless it's a pattern interrupt, to dive deeper to understand what's the problem, help them understand the pain.
Can you emphasize a little bit on what you just said about wanting to be more of a contractor to them versus the sales guy?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? 'Cause I wanna
Good pattern interrupt too. Do you see that? Right? So he asked me deeper. Absolutely. So as a contractor, basically, versus a sales guy. Let's put it this way. Quick example. When I was living in Germany, I sold insurances, investments, and all that. And when I was fresh in the industry for the first couple of years, I had a suit with a tie. That suit was fucking expensive. It was an Armani suit. Nice slack shoes. I looked like a model. I looked much nicer than today. So, no, seriously, I was like, damn, like, I looked like, I thought like I looked like money, okay? So, and I sold insurances. I looked exactly for what I was selling. And I was not bad, I was doing well. Then by chance, and I already, I started to make more money, more investments for customers, I helped them out a lot. And then one day, by accident, I was on the way to my girlfriend, I had a brand new Porsche, blacked out, that thing looked like, oh, awesome. And I never took that to the customer because if they feel like I make money on them, they probably don't want to go with me. So I was on the way to the city where a lot of my business also was. My girlfriend lived there. I was having white tennis shoes, jeans, white t-shirt, tight as shit, so my muscles came out, right? I was on the way to my girlfriend, right? I want to show off. And I drove to my girlfriend in that Porsche. And then the customer call was like in the early days, cell phone was big as like this, right? I was one of the early adopters, and my customer called from the same town, and he said, hey, my best friend just came over. I told him about what you and I did last week, and he's blown away. Can you come over for a minute if you have a chance? I said, hey, look, I'm basically passing your house in a minute, but I'm on my private leisure, right? I don't have anything with me.
Today.
Yeah. He said, don't worry, just to say hello, and you can show him on my stuff what we did. All right. I stop in front. I see the kitchen window already. The windows, the curtain moved to the side. Two big fat heads looking out like that. And I shouldn't have come with the Porsche, like that. Then they opened the door. The first thing what his friend said when they opened the door, he didn't even look at me. He shook my hand, looked around me to my car, and he said, dude, whatever you do, I want in. Just think about it. Was that logic or emotions? His words.
Emotions.
Oh, 100%. Right? He didn't even know what I'm selling. No, really. But that car, cars anyways, a lot of people, for cars there's a lot of emotions, right? Brand new Porsche, young guy like me. I was young back then. And he didn't even care what it was. He said, dude, you're successful, I want that. So basically, in that moment, I changed my looks, I changed everything. I never wore like a suit ever since. I dressed like I don't care. I'm clean, but not always to impress. More like understatement, like, you know. So when that kicked in, all of a sudden my bank account rushed to the top. It was crazy money. Because people trusted me more that I would do a good job. It was all emotionally based. All just the way I acted. More like I don't care. I have the solution here. You don't. You know what I mean? So that now projecting to our business, yeah, you don't want to really mislead them that you're the contractor. No, not, yeah, we're in sales. We want them to buy windows. But as harder you try, as more they pull back. As more as you pull back, as more they lean in. Try that out next time. A lot of times, again, on Rilla you don't see that, but a lot of times when the customer is there, especially if they lean back like that, you would see me moving myself back from the table. I want them to see my knee. I lean back now, and now with this, all right, tell me a little bit more about your windows. What's going on? Do yourself a favor. Do you see how I'm sitting right now? Try that out.
You don't give a shit.
Just try that out. You could even do this. Oh, it was an hour to get here. All right. So what's going on with your windows? Just look at me right now, and how do you, just put yourself in the shoes of the customer. How do you think they would feel in that moment when I would be relaxed like this? Compare that to the typical sales guy. There's a big difference?
Big difference.
Big difference.
Typical sales guys.
Yeah. Sales guys always, if you look from the side, they always have the feet almost behind the chair, ready to jump.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So they're just like right up.
Yeah. They lean in like, come on, what's going on? You know? Yeah, that's... Yeah. So you see body language plays a big role as well, right? So lower your voice, slow down, and ask at least one secondary question as a pattern interrupt when they ramble off, or to really know more like what you just did. Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that? So if they say, oh, the windows are, it's just old. Old? What do you mean by that? So the way I just said it, I didn't answer right away. I had a couple of seconds. And
Confused.
Old? Confused, right? Old? What do you mean by that? So they had enough time. That's almost awkward that they actually want to jump in and say something. A lot of people don't even let you finish. So the words like, old? What do you mean by that? A lot of times I can even finish, what do you mean by that? They already give me more input. And we know we want that input, not for our sake, but for their sake, because I want them to relive it. Yeah, the other day, so they start now to tell me, yeah, the other day I wanted to clean the windows and it felt like it's all falling apart. Wait, but hold on. Falling apart? Like literally? What do you mean? That's a secondary, third question now. I want them to feel, yeah, so I was doing this and then somehow it kinked and almost came on me, and you know, what happens in their mind now? They relive that moment. And you know how impactful that is to relive a moment? Sometimes, let's say, an example, let's say you saw a really bad accident right next to you and it was so impactful. When you tell that story the next day to your best friend, the tears almost start running because you relive that moment from yesterday. You know what I'm talking about? Or there was a super funny movie you saw, and now next day you're telling that to your friends or whatnot, and you start cracking up again. You should have seen it, you know, because you're reliving that moment. And that's what we want. So the second, third question, maybe a fourth, let them explain like you're a fifth grader. Explain it to me. What's going on with your window? Like I was a fifth grader. I want to understand. So you basically do two things in that moment. You let them relive that moment again, the emotions, which is the driver for them to do something about it. And by asking this, that shows you are the authority, you can listen, because when you can listen, they feel that you can take care of them, because they feel understood. Let's unwrap that real quick. Example. The bad example first. You go to the doctor because there is something wrong with you, you don't feel good and whatnot. The doctor comes in, right? They let you wait, right? You go in this little room there, you look around, you always wait 5 minutes for the doctor. Let's unpack that real quick. How does that make you feel? They're busy, they're the authority, you know. Can you imagine the doctor would be sitting in there already? Like, oh, come on in, take a seat. What can I do for you today? I'd be like, damn, what do you want to sell me, right? Right? Just think about it. But it's probably not on purpose, but they let you sit in that room and you're waiting for the authority. You're waiting for the God. You're waiting for the doctor. It's a way different ballgame. It's not a sales guy, right? So now, second part of this example, bad example, you sit there, wait, now he comes in and he asks the first question, so how are we doing? Why are you here? Right? Oh yeah, because of, I don't know, there's something on my knee. Great. Take this pill 5 times a day and call me and come back in a month, okay? See you later. How would you feel now? You're like, I don't know if I should take the pills.
Yeah, dude doesn't know shit about me.
Right? He doesn't know shit about me. He didn't listen. He didn't dive deeper in what was going on with it. Now, we all know the doctor asked thousands of questions, sometimes unrelated. Why won't they want to know my height, my weight, and my blood pressure when I go there, I have something on my knee. Right? But you feel like, yeah, it's good for him to know, just in case he finds something else what's wrong with me, right? Take all that, apply that to our job. Slow down and listen. Ask more questions so you find more out that they actually can tell themselves the pain. You want them to relive it. The same like, again, back to the doctor. The doctor would ask you what's going on. Oh, it's just something with my knee. The doctor does not have enough information. The doctor would now ask, okay, well, tell me about it. What happened? So the doctor also doesn't give an exam, like for you A and B to choose. He doesn't say, did you fall or did it hurt and so on? No, what happened? So it's an open question. He doesn't want to give you the answer, A or B. Have you noticed that sometimes on you when they say, oh, the windows are just old? What do you mean? Are they drafty, hard to open? Have you noticed that sometimes we give them A or B or C, multiple? You know what I'm talking about? Stop doing that. Think about yourself more like when you go to the doctor. What would the doctor do? Open question. With the knee? What do you mean? What's going on with your knee? And then they take a look. What's going on? Tell me. Oh yeah, so this, and when I jump on one leg and then I take a hammer and hit my knee really hard, it really hurts. Right? What would the doctor say? Well, stop doing that. Okay, so but what I'm saying is an open question, let them explain to you what's going on with their window and dumb it down. If it's surface level, it's your fucking responsibility to ask as an underlying question. Dig deeper. It's not good enough. Old? What do you mean by that? Well, this and this and this. Okay, doesn't sound too bad though. I mean, is it the color you don't like anymore? Is it energy efficiency? But what do we do now? Now I give them examples. Pick and choose. Not good either. So rather keep it just open. What do you mean by old? Well, this and this and this. Okay, anything else or is it just that? Well, no, there's also this and this and this. Okay, so when that happens, how does it feel? How does it affect you? Now I really go into emotions, right? And here's the key to the kingdom for all of us. That's where we want to be. we actually, if they don't tell us right away, then we have to ask this question without sounding like a psychologist. And if that situation occurs, you can actually say it. Look, I don't want to sound like a psychologist, but I'm just curious. I mean, you told me with all the cold air in this particular room and your daughter is always freezing with 2 blankets. I mean, as a parent, how does it really make you feel? And then don't say anything, let them say something. And you will be surprised how many people tell, yeah, no, I feel bad. I want my kid to have now you're all in the emotions. If you get them there, dude, now it's a home run. Okay, so we know we have the best window. It makes the most logical sense, but that's not what sells. Emotions, that's the driver. That's why people make decisions. That's our job. So forget about, also the inspection. Sometimes we think like the inspection is just, oh, is there any water damage? Is there a cracked window? No, is it warped? Is that really the inspection? How could we make that more emotionally?
I mean, whenever usually we'll walk into a bedroom, like, okay, like, whose room is this? Like, I want to know whose room it's in, who's staying there. Oh, it's my kid's room. Oh, okay. So, can you tell me, is there a reason, whatever. But I usually try and draw the kid in, or it's their room. Okay, so what do you notice in here when you stay in here, right? This is your bedroom? Like, I try and associate, like, the room to a person or time they spend there. Oh, this is your living room, big TV, nice. You watch a lot of the games here? Yeah. So you guys spend a lot of time here, don't you? Okay. And then that's when I kind of go in. Like, because then you can look at the window and it's like, so are the windows affecting how you enjoy this room?
Yeah.
Okay, so is this window affecting how your son Tommy sleeps? Yeah, it's cold. Like, I had a lady the other day, I got her there. She's like, yeah, like, my kids have to have multiple blankets on. Mm-hmm. Oh, that must be hard for you to deal with. Like, or something along those lines. And it's like, for you to sleep at night, you get them involved, and it's like, boom.
I would then actually rather let them, instead of me suggesting.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Right? Rather ask.
How does it feel when you go to bed at night knowing that they're freezing?
Yeah. Or, like, how does it affect your child?
Yeah.
How do you feel that might affect your child?
Yeah.
Right? Without me telling them, now I'm indirectly.
Those nuances is figuring out how to ask that question.
Right.
But I'm just trying to identify what room I'm in, what do they use it for, and then I can kind of get my way, weave my way in there.
And again, you go in a second level.
Yeah.
Right? You're taking it from the subconscious, kind of like you see all the blankets, all the curtains are closed, sunny day outside, but the curtains are closed because otherwise the room would be heated like crazy from the sun, right? Mm-hmm. So, I notice your windows are all, the curtains, is there a reason for that? We know why it's closed, but we want them to say it. We want them to relive it. Oh yeah, because nobody is a bat. Nobody wants to be in a cave. Everybody kind of enjoys the light, right? But not the heat coming in. It would heat up the room. So the obvious has now to be unpeeled, uncovered. I want them to tell me, hey, I just noticed in this room, the curtains are really thick and they're all closed. Is there a reason for that? Oh yeah, no, we just close them. Oh, you just want them to be closed? I mean, we can also put a cardboard there and take the window out. It's much cheaper to have drywall there instead of a window. I mean, I'm just exaggerating now for you guys, but right? So why have a window if you never open the blinds? Right? Just think about it. So there's a reason they close the blinds, because of the heat, but you want them to tell you why.
Yeah.
So okay, so you just told me that you close them because, is it sunlight or the heat what you don't like? Oh, it's just getting too hot in here otherwise. Oh, okay. So since when is this going on? Oh, since we bought the house. I mean, this is facing south and it's always getting hot here. Really? When did you buy the house again? About 6 years ago. Huh, interesting. So, I understand correctly, so this happened from the get-go. So as soon as you bought the house, you had to close the blinds, otherwise it would get really hot in here? What did I just do? I summarized.
Yeah.
What does that do for the customer?
Makes them feel hurt.
Exactly. Exactly. So after you ask the surface level question, or you get the surface level answer, you ask more questions. Hey, wait a minute, what do you mean by that? Can you elaborate? I don't really completely understand. I don't understand it wrong. Just, can you tell me more? Right? So now they tell you more. Once they unpack the issue on their house, on their windows, then when you feel satisfied, you see or feel or hear that their emotions are involved now, that they load on you like, oh no, it's just unbearable hot here. If we keep this open, oh my God, you should be in the summertime, it's horrible. So once you have them at that level, now the emotions, the fire is there, the reason, right? Oh, I see, interesting. So basically you are telling me that you have the curtains closed and this is going on forever since you have the house because it would be unbearable hot here. And now you can actually put a cherry on top of this big fat ice cream. Now, let me ask you this though, when it would not be closed, what would your AC have to do to compensate for that? Did you hear just now my tonality also slowed down and my arm movement like?
It's gonna have to run more.
Yeah. So body language again, right, is important because you emphasize like AC, higher AC cost, has to run harder, right? So now you put the cherry on top to their pain. You basically now, they already put the knife in their stomach and now you just twisted it. Because now you open up another thought process, the pain of like the high energy cost. Not just uncomfortable and you live like a caveman, but also if you don't do that, the energy costs are higher. So now you have them really in a situation. You could now say, all right, and in the end when we sit there and you showed the window, the solution, then you could also say, you know, look, you showed me the window earlier and basically the whole house is boarded up in the summertime because of the heat, right? Because you don't want to pay the whole energy bill. I have a question though. I mean, what would happen if you don't do anything about it? And you live like this for 6 years already. And let's say we would not have met today and you just, continue to live like that. I mean, what really would that do to you? And then you wait. Now you got them a little step further in the process of, no, I need to change something. Because the danger is if they lived already like that for 6 years, that they continue another year, right? You want to get them in a situation that they want to do now something. And they already want to because that's why we are here. They already, nobody needs to, I need another night, I need to think about it. You had that thinking process already in the past. That's why we are here today. You want to make it, the customer wants to make a decision. They want to move forward. Nobody needs to think another year about that, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be here. So now, that's why the first time, now we have to get them on board, really, because we are helping them to not live like this another year, and prices will be higher next year. You know the logic. We are here to help them to overcome their bullshit or their excuses why they put it off another. Because everybody is afraid of change. Change, in this case, has always not just the good thing changes, but also now they have to lash out $200 a month. That's the change what hurts a little bit because everybody wants everything, but nobody wants to give for that, right? So the third aspect now from our skill builder is to summarize it. And you can summarize it in that room, and then later on you can summarize it again. And we know now it makes them feel hurt. Don't skip that.
No,
Don't skip that. So all three belong together. Slow down, then their guard goes down because they feel like you're there to listen. They feel heard. when you slow down, they feel like you take your time to really answer and think about it, how it is. They open up better. And then slow down. What was the other one?
Slow down, summarize.
Summarize is the third.
Okay.
That was a test. This number 2 is ask more questions. Exactly. So slow down. So you have more impact. You have more weight. They start listening to you better and paying more attention. Be this guy. Like, what's going on? Don't be this guy. Oh, your knee hurts. Take this 5 pills, and So when you slow down, and they feel heard, and you dive in deeper, ask more questions, they start to trust you, that you are the authority, you are the guy who delivers what they're looking for. And now in the end it's just, okay, how do we make this work? Okay? So then, before we show the numbers, we summarize the whole thing, because that really puts them over the edge to thinking, damn, he knows exactly what I need. It's like the doctor. So now after he asked me about my knee now, about my eating habits, maybe too much red meat, and it's actually not the hammer, it's actually arthritis or whatnot, what comes from the diet maybe, right? Or the red meat and stuff, I heard. Now he tells me, okay, change your diet and use this pill once a month, and you should be fine. What am I doing now? Nah, I need to think about it. Would that be my answer now? Right?
Yeah.
Now think about this part. The pill would be not picked up by the health insurance, and it would be $1,000 a month. Now it depends on, just think about it, now it depends on how big my pain is, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I feel that this pain is so ridiculous bad, I can't even work anymore. I can't live anymore. I feel like, dude, I gotta cut this off. My life is ruined if I don't take care of this. How does $1,000 a month look now?
Totally worth it. Something you're gonna have to do.
But if I don't feel the pain, if it's like, I'm fine,
Windows are just open.
it's just a little bit, I can live with this, I let it go worse, right? So if the doctor would not discover the pain I sometimes have, like, how is it then in the nighttime? How do you sleep, right? If he wouldn't, I forgot about, I barely sleep. And now I go to the emotions in this case. So how does it affect you with your workload throughout the daytime? How do you perform if you have this little sleep? I mean, how does it affect your life? Where did this doctor get me now? He now got me emotionally involved, like, oh man, life sucks. I could be so much better if that was taken care of.
Yeah.
You see how this all comes together? If they don't feel the pain, they will not change. No pain, no gain. Okay?
Good stuff, man.
All right, and this is it was a long discussion and explanation, all that, but I wanted you guys to feel how this feels, and also to see it is literally a quick change. It's a quick fix. Mm-hmm. If you start to implement it step by step. Don't expect to change your you don't even have to change your spiel or your process. Just slow down, start with that. Mm-hmm. And that starts already by the way in. Right? First impression, the door opens, now hey guys, here's my card. Hey, I'm with Ruba Anderson. What's going on? How can I help you? And okay, come on in. This guy has too much energy, right? This is a sales guy. That's how they always are, right? Or I come in, they open the door, and I'm putting my phone away. Hey, how's it going, Mick? Here's my card. Shoes here? Is that all right? Okay, cool. Hey, before we start, our meetings are always recorded for security and training purposes. Good? Okay, cool. Here's my card. Yeah, let's get started. How can I help you today? How did this come across?
You didn't care?
But did you feel a little bit more authority there?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Compared to this hyper guy?
Yeah.
right? Who would you trust?
So is that how you?
No, who would you trust? Who would you trust? Who do you want to be in your? Who do you want the guy?
Both those first impressions, it's you still gotta sell yourself to me first.
But from the first impression, just judging by these two people I just played, who would you trust on your house?
I don't know, because the second guy didn't seem.
But you need to know more. I know that, but
you almost feel like, all right, I want to get this over with, so I wouldn't want that guy here.
yeah,
I don't know. Like maybe it's a different word from trust that gives the edge to the second guy. You know. You know, both of them. I think I would welcome into the house and tell my problems.
Sure.
But
It's
with
more
that
an
authority,
authoritative figure.
I would be
Exactly.
much more confident in.
and that's what I wanted to
through the
hear.
appointment,
Exactly
knowing
right.
that I am working with somebody who knows what they're doing and is gonna, help me make the right decision.
Exactly.
Seems like the
So
point.
do you-
Because a trust has to still be built on both, and the first guy still can succeed.
Right.
Right.
It's gonna be a harder path.
But it's actually, but it's actually the authority and the confidence
Yeah.
what makes you feel like, I want to know more about this guy. If I can then trust him, now we have a goer.
So you got two introductions, but the difference was the authority, and that came with the second one.
Yeah.
And that's what you did.
And if you slow down, they perceive you as more confident and more like you know what you're doing. You're not, because subconsciously is a lot of things subconsciously, right? But the human mind thinks if something goes too fast, you are afraid you're missing something what could have saved you. You want to understand everything correctly. That's why you rather want to hear it piece by piece, slowed down, than to rush through. Does that make sense? And that's why you are going to be perceived way more as the authority and a confident person, know what they are doing if you slow yourself down. 100%. Yeah. Oh yeah, we are done in a minute anyways, but I wanted to hear a little bit more from you guys, like what do you feel you can pick up of this and what do you want to work on first?
Questions are asking more questions. I think are a big one for me personally.
So the second layer, third layer, going deeper, yeah.
Yeah, I think the slowing down. I completely see the power of that. For me personally, I think I was kind of following the Brian Grace. Not that he was saying talk fast ever, but he was very clear in our early training about when you price present, that's when you start to slow down. And I think it's interesting, and I do see the power of doing it more universally.
Yeah.
But I guess I've been trying to practice that a little bit more already. So asking more questions, I think, is a big part of it.
And you can also change the pace in the sentence, right? So this sentence right now, what I just said, I start at the beginning fast, but then I slow it down. So you can play with that. You don't have to always sound like that, like Eeyore, right? But play with that. And the important parts, when you slow down halfway sentence, all this next word, what you say, has way more impact. And then the body language to it and all that. So, but concentrate on the slow pace first and slow yourself down, low pitch voice. That's an easy fix.
Before I'll give my piece, but the moment that first impression, you've been saying, like, you kind of just like, okay, so what's going on? Do you try and get them down to a table, or is this something you're kind of doing as you're walking along with them, like you just kind of get right into it?
It's a good question. I actually want to play that part by ear. There are two ways. The one way is because sometimes they are so eager to show you the problem, you can't possibly, no, let's go to the window in a minute. Right now they feel like, right? He's not listening, right? But I want to give them the chance to tell me what's going on. So the first thing when we stand in the hallway is always like, what's going on? How can I help you today? I let them tell me, because most of the time you go to the table, right? if they don't say, oh yeah, we should maybe sit down, then most of the people don't say that, but then I say it, okay, sounds like, why don't we sit down first and get a couple of questions out of the way first? Sounds good? So I get a better understanding.
That's what you play by ear.
Yeah.
Depending on how.
But just two outcomes. Either I tell them, okay, let's go to the table. I have a couple of more questions, so I get a better understanding. I said, fine, where can we sit? But I want to give them the chance to vent. I want them the chance to tell me like all the issues, what they might have. Because it's almost like this exciting kid. When you come home, you have a young kid there, and it's like, oh, I got to tell you, this happened today. But if you say, let me go to the bathroom first, right? Now the kid is like, oh, come on, So it's almost the same thing. They want to vent. If they want to vent, give them a chance. If they say, here, come on here, this is actually the window. I saw actually there were bugs coming in, right? What does it do? It lets them vent, and now, and let them talk about it, right? If it takes 5 minutes there, that's fine. Then you say, wow, that man, I feel you. That feels like a big ordeal. Why don't we do this then? Why don't we sit down first? I jot a couple of things down. Is that okay? And get a better understanding, and then we go around. You show me all the other ones. So I'm leading the appointment back to the table, the authority part, right? You got to lead all the time. Don't let them dictate you what's going on. If